So today's video is going to be a little bit different. You can probably already see that we have a controller overlay, and that's only possible because I'm playing on PC. So I'm going to show you my experience. You're even going to be able to hear my live thought process because this is all from Twitch. So when I got the footage, it has some of the audio that I had from originally recording it. So you guys are going to get like a first person experience of how it was like to go from console to PC. So I'm going to go over all the differences that I noticed. I think we're also going to be going against some misconceptions about what you expect to see when you change from console to PC. So I'm going to let you guys watch a few of these clips and then we're going to talk more about them. And since I am going to be playing on PC, obviously I gave a keyboard and mouse a try, and you guys are going to get to see a little bit of that experience as well. And you know, on top of just the compare and contrast between console and PC, you guys are going to see me have a little bit of the new player experience. Because I had to unlock all my perks again, which actually makes a big difference. There's nothing better than an oblivious sniper. Oh, 24 credits? I can afford that. Okay, there we go. I've got a salt chip on. Okay, so apparently I didn't... That's what I've been running. I didn't even know. Didn't even notice. Okay. I think we'll be a little bit more effective now. It's on now. My Titan's coming together. Still need tactical for my gun, and you know the rule. Kraber falls at your feet. You have to pick it up. Oh, that was almost ridiculous! Not as good. Good, but not as good. That made up for it. Styling now. Let me avenge my... Line it up! Line it up, PC god! Aw, see? Even PC guys just fall back to melee. Sniper here. And even though I switched over to PC for this week, I really didn't change my playstyle. Not one bit. Look at me. I'm the Kraber god now. You don't need to have a mouse and keyboard for this. Off the hip. That's the true Titanfall way. Grabbing somebody else's Kraber. Holy shit. That's kind of how it goes for me. If I have my own Kraber, I can't land a shot. I grab somebody else's, I'm like, it's go time. It's probably because I don't get frustrated. I only have to use it for a little bit, right? If I fail, I die, I get back to my standard gun. And that's pretty much the end of the clips I wanted you guys to watch, and then I'm going to talk about them now. But just before we get into that, I want to show you guys my actual standard PC gameplay with a keyboard and mouse. And I'll be honest, it's not particularly impressive. But this actually gives me an opportunity to tell you guys about something that happened that I thought was pretty cool. GameSir reached out to me and they ended up giving me a keyboard to try out. It's a wireless keyboard and it's meant for PC gaming. That means it has very little input lag. So I want to give you guys a quick blurb about it because they were kind enough to throw this my way, so I want to give a little bit back to them. So I want to just explain to you guys that this is not like a paid promotion. I am just more so giving my opinions on it because, you know, that's the least I can do when you get hooked up with some merch. So just for starters, what I typically use is a Black Widow Chroma version 2. What does that mean? It's a pretty high-end gaming keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard. It has a lot of lights, and that's what I'm going to be comparing the keyboard they sent me to. And what they sent me is the GK300. And let me tell you, it's such an easy keyboard to use. Like, it has its pros and cons. Obviously, no wires, and it's actually super responsive. I played StarCraft on it, which is something I'm actually good at with mouse and keyboard, and I think it's a game where you would notice if the keys weren't clicking correctly. So it's definitely a very efficient keyboard, but here's my biggest problem with it, and honestly I don't think it's a big one. It's just that I'm used to a full-size keyboard, which this is. It comes with a number pad and all that, but the shift key and the control key are actually just slightly smaller, I think by like 0.3 centimeters. So 3 millimeters, there's about this difference where if you're used to a regular size keyboard or a full-size keyboard, you may miss your finger on it, but I think that's something that you would probably get adjusted to. That would be my only complaint. On top of also the fact that the keys have a really high profile, like hair can get under them really easy. I think that would be one of its faults. But other than that, for its price range, which is $100, I think it's a great keyboard. Obviously, you're not going to get all the bells and whistles like full chroma control. This thing only does white light in the background with about 5 patterns, which are actually really easy to change between. Everything about this keyboard was easy. Like, it hooked up super fast. I was on it right away. It came with a charge. When it died, it recharged really fast. It was great. I haven't had enough time to actually test its battery life all the way because it actually hasn't died all week, so you can take that for what it is. Is it a good keyboard for its price range? I would say yes. Yes, it is, especially for what it is. It's a very functioning keyboard that if you're not completely accustomed to another kind of keyboard, I think you can start off on that and do really well. Because it just so happens that my shift and control key are just slightly bigger. Otherwise, the keys actually feel almost the same. And that's pretty much my quick blurb on it. I'm actually going to leave a link below if you guys want to check out this keyboard, because I think what I'm going to end up using this keyboard for is when I'm just like chilling back and I don't want to be right up to the PC and I still want to do stuff on it. That's when I'm going to be busting it out, because it has actually great weight to it. It's very sturdy, which kind of adds to the fact that it would be easy to balance if you weren't actually sitting at a desk. And since it's wireless, that's an option you get. So thank you to GameSir for hooking me up with this keyboard, and if you guys are actually looking for a wireless keyboard, well, all that information will be below. And from here I want to start talking to you guys again about the footage and about the differences that I found in console versus PC.
Yeah, see, there's something with PC and whipping when I catch guys.
If you missed that, which you may have because my mic is all messed up, is that I was talking about how I've noticed a big difference between melees from PC to console. I find that on PC I seem to whiff a lot more. The grapple sometimes just goes right through people, or I'm right in front of them and the melee still doesn't connect. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but those are one of the things that kind of stuck out to me as somebody who melees a lot, especially off of the grapple. And if you guys are missing the game sounds, which I just noticed on this playback how bad it was, even halfway through the stream I ended up with a little humming noise. So just know that I'm actually going to be just getting a completely different mic for the Twitch experience. So everybody who's supporting me on there, just know that I am working on improving the quality of the stream. So melee felt a little bit wonky to me, even more wonky than usual. It could have just been that I had a bad spree of melees in the last few days, but it was so much that it actually stuck out to me, so just thought I'd mention it. Second, let's talk about something that you just hear so much about, especially when you go on Reddit or forums and things like that. It's talking about the PC player's ability to aim. People always say, oh, the aiming is going to be so much better on PC. And generally, I would say that is correct. But because of the small population size and just randomly having people that are actually top tier, are actually quite low. I noticed that if they're really good players, yes, they're going to be amazing players on PC, but the general population doesn't play up to that standard. And I think even if you manage to get a top tier PC player against a top tier console player, I still think they can make a game out of it, because between the aim assist and the way that the guns function in this game, I think that can actually be pretty even, and usually I'm not in favor of that at all. Now, any other game, I still may not be in favor of it, because if there was a really large population on PC, there's a larger pool of players that can be above average. So that would probably change my opinion. But as of the way that it is now and what I saw in the last few days, you are not going to see a drastic increase in the skill curve of PC players. Now, one of the things I did notice, however, though, is that the PC players that happened to main Northstar as a Titan were a lot better than all the North Stars that I would typically see on console, because I think usually people that pick a North Star are typically high tier players, because they know that you have to work with a North Star. You have to stay in good positioning, and you have to have decent aim. The biggest thing you're actually going to see that a lot of you console players probably want to hear and want to experience is less Spitfires, almost entirely. I did not see many Spitfires at all, and even when I did, it wasn't half as bad. If anything, I would say the G2 players are better than the Spitfire players. So that probably again has to do with the way that aim assist works. And you know where aim assist doesn't help you when you're using a Kraber and an EPG. So I want to quickly talk about those two, because those weapons still always have the exact same weaknesses. It doesn't matter if you're playing on PC or console. The main thing about a Kraber is that you miss one shot. If the other player is competent, they're going to gun you down before you reload. The only thing that's going to get you away from dying after that initial first shot is one of your abilities, whether it be stim, phase shift. There's not many others that are actually going to get you away while you're reloading against a good player. So I never think that there's going to be players that are going to be ridiculously amazing with their Kraber. I still think it just has too many weaknesses in order to actually be extremely viable in Titanfall. It's going to have to do with the teams. Like, I've seen top tier players using a Kraber, and against mid tier players it makes it look ridiculous, but as soon as I've seen them go against high tier players, that's when they start getting frustrated, because that's when you really start seeing all the weaknesses of this gun.
Oh, where did that go? Look at how far that is.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter what I play on. The Titan never lands where I want it to.
Not gonna make it.
That's a hard shortcut too, and I messed it up. Now I gotta take the long way around to my Titan. So what's the last thing I can say about changing this up from PC to console? To be honest, nothing much. The wait times are definitely higher though. There's no doubt about that. A lot faster on PC. It helped when I actually got into a party, so we were in full lobbies. What else can I say? The Titan control is a little bit different because of the North Stars, which I think do have better aim. And maybe also the tones, but it's kind of hard to tell. It's a pretty easy gun to shoot no matter what you're playing on.
What happened there? We're gonna try to melee you, bastard.
Alright, a couple of those were whiffs, but that thing with the grappling hook was honestly happening a ton.
The only time I get a battery off on a Titan right now.
And this was me practically complaining about not having my perks like the low profile. Yeah, so switching between this brought me back to what it's like to play just base Titanfall, which means that you have no attachments. You probably have no knowledge of the game. Because I have the knowledge that I have from already playing Titanfall, I know what I'm missing when I don't have my attachments, and the big difference it makes to have tactical in my gun when I'm going on runs and killing multiple pilots. So it was definitely interesting for me, and it kind of reminds me of what it's like coming into this game fresh. If you guys want to see what a regular player looks like, imagine my playing on mouse and keyboard as somebody that just jumps into the game, because it's probably pretty accurate of how they're going to feel in this game. You don't know if you should be aiming down sights or zooming in to shoot. Like, I knew nothing and I was terrible. So I feel your pain. Put me back to square one on mouse and keyboard. I don't think I could handle you guys. You guys would demolish me, and it wouldn't matter if I'm playing on Xbox, PS4, or PC. That's just the reality of being a new player in this game. There is definitely a skill curve. And even though I had all the buttons available on my keyboard, it was still hard for me to get the movement down. So paddles or no paddles, keyboard or no keyboard, this game is just plain hard. So if you guys are going to be playing on either one, you guys are going to have to take your time, learn the game, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it regardless of what you're playing it on. But first, you definitely have to get your movement down, you got to get your aim down, get all your attachments before you judge this game, because once you're on equal footing, I think you guys are going to get a kick out of it. And that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. I'm Paper, cut to you, and I'll see you guys next time.